Dragon's Dogma 2, absolute super hype. It looks amazing, and the biggest thing, it keeps getting better.
Alright guys, Wes here, welcome back to the channel. So as you know, Dragon's Dogma 2 is rapidly turning into one of the biggest games of the year. Initially revealed in June of 2022, the sequel to 2012's Dragon's Dogma is a huge fantasy RPG with tons of vocations to build your character from and a heavy emphasis on NPC interaction and a pretty sophisticated AI system, which means that NPCs learn and grow as you play, which adds to the
Well, look at how good that was. Look at how good that was.
NPCs learn and grow.
Boom, look at this. You can feel the impact.
Grow as you play, which adds to the overall immersion of the game world and making this one of the most technically advanced games that Capcom has ever funded. With the March 22nd launch day right around the corner, more info.
Dude, I don't care if it's technically innovative or it's 30 steps technically backwards. As long as it's a good game, I don't care in the slightest.
Has come out about what to expect from Dragon's Dogma 2. So today we're going to go over everything that we've learned recently from the final hands-on preview, the brand new vocation that was revealed, as well as some controversial details that were leaked in late January. We have a lot to talk about, guys, so check the video chapters for easy viewing, and without further delay, let's get into it. So recently PlayStation did a state of play where we got a brand new trailer for Dragon's Dogma 2.
Mommy Sphinx.
And in that trailer, there was actually a blog post that was posted shortly after that gave us some brand new gameplay details, as well as the introduction of the warfare vocation. According to the description, wield a great sword, chant high-level magic, and deceive enemies with illusions. The warfare is a vocation that allows you to engage in.
Okay, if there is one thing I'm currently not sold about Dragon's Dogma, and that is the illusion part. There is a whole specialization that just constantly, well, that's only real way to really kill opponents is find a ledge, create a fake illusionary ledge, and get monsters to go on it. Which seems stupid as hell, not gonna lie. Because the main problem with that is, okay, you find a ledge, you get the monsters to fall off the ledge, and they die, right? Well, that means that if you jump down, you also die. But you need to pick up the loot. The loot doesn't automatically pick. Now you need to run down to wherever that is and pick up the loot. And chances are, in the way down, you will encounter new enemies that you need to, again, find a ledge and get them to jump down. So, how do you even progress with a class like that? That is my only thing, that I don't feel that the illusion thing is gonna work and it needs to be hotfix redesigned. Everything else, amazing. But the illusion thing just, I'm not sold. I am really not sold. Cool concept, yes, but I don't think it's functional.
Combat while switching between weapons of other vocations. So the warfare vocation is exclusive to the main character, the Arisen. Warfarers can use all types of weapons and learn the core skills of all vocations. They said that it's the ultimate vocation, so to speak. Some vocations excel at close combat or are skilled at support, and the warfarer can utilize the strengths of each vocation as its situation demands. The warfarer has the potential to release powerful combos such as the trickster skills to deceive enemies and open up opportunities to chant powerful attack magic. However, the warfarer is not an almighty vocation. Their basic stats are not high, and they must carry many weapons in order to use the various skills. They continued by saying they will require player skills to exploit strengths in different situations, or else the
This is really good. This shows to me at least that they know what they are doing, because yeah, a lot of games make the mistake of creating an all-rounder that does everything from the other class, but they are as strong. If you can do everything, this is pretty much the old World of Warcraft hybrid mantra, is that, well, they can do so many things, which means they can't be the best at doing these things, because they have just access to so many more things. So I think this is a win, because obviously if you allow someone to do everything and their stats are equal and whatnot, they're obviously just going to be blatantly the strongest thing to do.
The vocation will remain a lesser version of each of their respective vocations. Only those who have honed their skills and adaptability will be able to bring out the full potential of the warfare. The blog continued by talking about the Vocation Masters. They said, around the world of Dragon's Dogma, there are Vocation Masters who have mastered their respective vocations. First, we have Linart, the Fighter Vocation Maester, a swordsman with the remarkable combat and leadership skills. There's a Vocation Maester for the Mystic Spearhead, Sigurd. He wanders from place to place seeking out
spears. I love spears.
Dragons. And as you deepen your relationship with Vocation Masters and earn their approval, they may grant you special tomes that will allow you to unlock new vocations or acquire skills known as Maester Teachings. For instance, the Maester's Teaching for the Archer is Heavenly Shot. This fires an arrow with the maximum power in exchange for consuming all of the player's stamina. There's also Wild Fury, the Maester Teaching for Mystic Spearhead. Creating a double out of magic, it allows the player to deal both magic and...
I'm gonna marry the Sphinx and no one can stop me.
And physical damage. So I'm expecting there to be a ton of Maester Teachings in this game, and honestly I look forward to finding them, building a relationship with the Vocation Maester to unlock the tomes for the respective vocation that I choose to play as. Next up, we have some new details about Dragon's Plague, which is a contagious disease-like status effect that infects pawns under certain conditions. Now whenever a pawn gets the Dragon's Plague while affected, the pawn's basic stats will improve and their behavior will change. It spreads among pawns on their travels between worlds, and in the early stages of the illness, the afflicted pawn won't fall ill, but rather displays abilities and confidence that exceed what they would normally have. In the later stages, however, of the illness, the Dragon's Plague is said to result in a devastating calamity. Now, there's not much other information about Dragon's Plague in this world, but it is a rare illness, so if someone in your party is unnaturally bossy or overly active, they may have control.
It's probably gonna be super cool when you encounter this the first time.
Contracted Dragon's Plague. So essentially, whenever one of your pawns gets that, you can kind of choose whether or not you want to try to cure them, possibly utilize that positive boost to their strength and then continue on your journey. But at the end of the day, it is our choice throughout our journey in Dragon's Dogma. So moving right along, we have a hands-on preview from IGN recently posted where they talk about their 10-hour preview experience for Dragon's Dogma.
We have actually watched it. It seemed pretty good.
2, and they revealed a ton of details about how the game plays during lengthy sessions. The first thing that the author talked about was what they thought was a simple side quest turned into a lengthy story that...
Yeah, everything can turn into a lengthy story. The pawn system, if you don't know it, is pretty elaborate and good. Essentially, you don't interact with other people, but your pawns do. Your pawns can help other people. And if the pawn has done some companions, if most people don't understand the term pawn, right? It's just companions, your henchmen, your hirelings, right? If a hireling has done something with another player, they know about that place and that location. So if they're not far from it, they can tell you, hey, that way there's Sphinx titties, and you're like, oh my God, yes, daddy, please, and then you just go with them. And it's amazing, and they show it to you. Yeah, so every minor adventure out in the world can turn into some kind of absolute, who God knows what's happening type of situation. So that's really good. But, the IGN thing is kind of tame. We saw a lot of interesting fights that you can get ambushed at night, that creatures have, vengeance against you and want to finish the job and whatnot. A lot of stuff like that.
In this world. So interestingly enough, there's at least 2 of the vocations in this game that are unlocked via quests, which that kind of tells us that there's probably going to be more, especially whenever you consider how many vocations that there are. However, this decision slightly conflicts with the fact that there's only 1 save file at launch, which this is a pretty bizarre decision given the fact that there are so many vocations to choose from, and the developers clearly intended...
But you can swap them, can't you? I haven't heard about that.
For you to play through the game multiple times with multiple characters to unlock new options. Plus, on top of that, whenever you start a new game, you also create a pawn, which could go inhabit someone else's game. So wouldn't it benefit Dragon's Dogma 2 to allow multiple characters and multiple pawns at once? Hopefully Capcom listens.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. But also, the big thing here about this, to understand, you're not going to experience the whole world. The world is huge, and there's a lot to do it, and not a lot of things are marked. So, you're gonna miss a lot of things the first time you play it, unless you want to do 100% of everything. In which case, yeah, sure, do 100% of everything, it's fine. But I personally will play this game most likely like Fallout New Vegas or any other Fallout game. And that is, I make my character, I pick what I want to do with it, and then I just, see where the road takes me to. And when the road takes me to finishing the game, well, I finish the game and that's it. And chances are I haven't explored even 1/3 of all the locations on the map. But it is what it is, and next time I will probably end up going into another direction, and then explore the things that I didn't explore previously.
Listens to us and clears this up and adds more save files, because I know a lot of people have been pretty disappointed by the singular save file in a game like this. Now, whenever it comes to the warrior vocation, IGN reported that the warrior got a pretty substantial buff from the first game, thanks to feedback from players who thought the warrior wasn't really viable before, but with an increase in strength and some massive two-handed.
Yeah. The warrior is essentially your tried and true bread and butter type of character that just hits big, but kind of only hits big. And in a game like this, I don't even blame anyone for trying to play that. In other games, I would blame you for playing that, you disgusting freak of nature warrior lover. Oh, but in a game like this, a completely solid option.
Weapons, the warrior can now one-shot some pretty huge enemies if you manage to get a fully charged strike on them, which that will be a pretty valuable addition to your team. In fact, the game's director has even called the warrior unfair in recent interviews, thanks to the sheer amount of buffing that they did, but they also made a point to make the warrior a bit harder to use than before in order to balance the amount of damage output that they can do. Basically, going from Dragon's Dogma 1 to Dragon's Dogma 2, they made a ton of adjustments to the vocations from the first game, thanks to all of the fan feedback. However, there's been some vocations that have been touched up more than others. The warrior seems like it's gotten the most noticeable changes, and it's unclear just how much the other vocations have been altered from the first game, but rest assured, the vocations haven't been simply copied and pasted from Dragon's Dogma 1. Now, the preview also talked a bit about how the map interacts with the flow of gameplay events. As you've probably heard, the map of Dragon's Dogma 2 is roughly 4 times the size of the original game, but the IGN preview claims that despite the insane size, it's also very dense with NPCs and world events, both on and off the main pathways, so you never go too long without something exciting happening. But you'll also have some breathing room, so you're not too overwhelmed or constantly being thrown into combat encounters like you're in the tall grass of a Pokemon game. Now, one thing that Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to do that's kind of different from other open world games is how they approach fast travel. The director didn't want players.
There is no fast travel. When I talked about this is good. The best games don't want you to use fast travel. The best games obviously have fast travel options, and by the way, yes, this game also will have fast travel options, but it's going to kind of limit them because they're going to be really expensive. This game just adds extremely expensive fast travel options. You can sometimes find them in the wild and whatnot, but most of the time fast travel is you get on an ox cart and congratulations, then you get ambushed by a cyclops. That's going to be it. But that's good. That's interactive things. A lot of interesting things can happen on the way, and you're supposed to explore. Look at games like Starfield. Bad games have a lot of fast travel in them. And again, look at Starfield. It has literally, I think, 15 ways that you can get to the fast travel menu because even the developers don't want to torture you that much and just allow you to fast travel to a location. But good games don't do that. Good games do have the options of fast traveling, but typically you don't want to fast travel unless you have explored everything and now it's like, okay, you're finishing this quest that you were supposed to do 20 levels ago, but you're going to do it now because you're interested in the lore it provides. Okay, that's fine, and fast traveling for things like that works. Oh, and by the way, quests in this game, not marked. You need to talk to people at random and see what happens or hear something that happens. It's pretty interesting. There's not a lot of hand-holding. Oh, yeah. Well, the essentially same amount of hand-holding that exists in, like, Elden Ring or something like that, probably. But, not a lot of it, honestly. So, overall, 10 out of 10. Great.
Players to rely on fast traveling and instead immerse themselves.
Oh, actually, and there's also a mechanic that's gonna remove your maximum HP because you need to rest. You can't just always constantly be out and about in the wilderness. There's gonna be things that prevent you from doing that. New healing update. Wow. Because this is all that we know about fast travel. There's no new news there.
Awesome. Now, another detail revealed in the preview is that the healing items do not heal over your HP cap, but they can also be used instantly. This will make healing up during battle a little bit more convenient, but also ensures that healing items aren't abused and basically used as free.
I guess it's just congratulations. Here's your Estus flask.
Buffs in the heat of battle. It will also likely lead to an increased importance on towns and camps where you can refill your healing items, kind of like the core gameplay loop of Dark Souls games, where your healing items give you a set amount of HP back, but they can be refilled at checkpoints. Overall, technically a minor change from the first Dragon's Dogma, but it will likely have a pretty big effect on the way that combat plays out. Now, there's been some concerns raised about the sheer size of the game, and I'll admit that the preview did mention that things could hypothetically get overwhelming once the map opens up a bit, and now you're
good. Considering this is gonna have the, well, not same, but a pretty high overlap in audience, I guess, with something like Elden Ring and whatnot. Well, that's good because everyone in those games likes huge open maps that you can get lost in.
face to face with the laundry list of possibilities. I've seen some concerns addressed that the massive map size with the limited fast travel system that could potentially lead to things getting a bit tedious on the latter parts of the game once you've leveled up to a certain point and have a basic understanding of where all of the main points of interest are. And to some extent, I could see where those criticisms are coming from, but I'm sure it'll be a blast exploring the map for the first time and learning all of the ins and outs of this world. But what about when you're 20 to 30 to 40 hours in and you already know where everything is? Will traveling get boring at that point? Or what about when you're on your third or fourth character? Will it start to feel like a chore rather than an exciting piece of immersion? Obviously, there's
Well, obviously, but most people are not gonna get to their second character. Let's be real. Most people are not gonna get to the third hour of this game, most likely on their first character. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. But still,
there's not really a way to know at this point, and I'm sure that the team put a ton of effort into the game's exploration and immersion, so for that reason I am totally willing to give Dragon's Dogma 2 the benefit of the doubt, but it could be a cause for concern in the future. But yeah guys, that's gonna wrap it up with this video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed it.
Anyway, that was our boy Vesh Nemo. Well, okay, Vesh Nemo. Close enough. Anyway, this was Cruiser Says, and thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye bye.